Hi everybody, this is Alan Ellman, the Blue Collar Investor, with today's option selling question of the day. Today's question comes from Jim M. Alan, when our strike price moves deep in the money as stock price increases early in the contract, how do we decide if we should close the entire position and take profits or roll the option out and up? As an example, I bought CRM at 133.31 on January 3rd, 2019, and sold the February 15, 2019 130 call option for $9.35. On January 9th, the stock price was $146.36, and the option was priced at $18.20. What would you do? Thanks for all you do. And it's signed Jim M. Okay, well, obviously this is a good problem. The price of the stock has gone up, and that's practically guaranteed our maximum return. And since an in-the-money strike was sold, our maximum return was the time value profit. So let's take this trade apart and evaluate it and see which exit strategy, if any, would make sense in this particular scenario. All right, let's start by reviewing Jim's trade. On January 3rd, Salesforce.com, ticker CRM, was purchased at 133.31. That same day, the February 15th, 130 in-the-money strike was sold at 9.35. Now we know, since it's an in-the-money strike, that the entire premium is not profit, but we're going to turn to the Ellman Calculator to break that down for us in the next slide. Only 6 days later, the price of the stock zoomed up to 146.36, and the option price to buy back that option was $18.20. So it was almost double what the original premium that was sold. All right, let's first take a look at how Jim structured the trade in terms of the time value initial profit. And we're going to turn to the multiple tab of the Ellman Calculator, and we can see in the blue cells on the left side the information gleaned from the email, the stock purchased at 133.31, and the 130 in the money strike sold at 9.35. You could see the February 15th expiration date in there. Now, of that 9.35 premium, 331 is intrinsic value. That's the amount that the 130 strike is in the money or lower than current market value. So that's not profit. The calculator will deduct that from the 9.35 and let us know that the return on option, or ROE, in the yellow cell is 4.6%. So we have a nice juicy return from approximately a 6-week return. Now, the upside potential is zero because we sold an in-the-money strike. So we're obligated to sell at 130. Doesn't matter how high the price of the stock goes. However, there is downside protection of the initial time value profit, which is quite different than break even. So that's in the brown cell. We see 2.5%. What that means is the price of the stock can drop by 2.5% by expiration, and we still will have generated that 4.6% time value return. Now, if you wanted to look at the break-even column, that's 123.96 in the purple cell, and that tells you how far down the stock has to go without losing any money. Once it drops below that, we start to lose money on this trade. So the key figure here is 4.6% with the protection of 2.5%. And we know that if the price goes up, that won't benefit us, except give us more downside protection. Okay, so now we decide, is there an exit strategy that we need? And if so, which one should we decide on? So let's first take a look at the possibility of rolling the option. Now, Jim had suggested rolling out and up. That means to the next contract month and to a higher strike. But we're going to take a look at both rolling out So to the same strike, to the same 130 strike for the March contracts, and then higher up to a price higher than the current market value. This particular case, we're going to look at the 130 rolling out and the 150 rolling out and up. Now you can also choose a rolling out and up strike that's still lower than current market value. So when we roll out and up, we could roll out and up to an in-the-money strike. Let's say we used, in this particular case, let's say we used a 135 strike. We would be rolling out and up, but that strike would still be in the money. Okay, but we're going to look at the out-of-the-money 150 strike. Now, the original sale price on the option was $9.35, as we stated before, and the cost to close is $18.20. Of that $18.20, most of it is intrinsic value because the stock price went up so high, leaving the 130 strike deep in the money. So the 130 call, if we rolled out to the March contract, would generate $20.50. Okay, so right off the bat, we see that there is going to be a time value credit because we are generating $20.50 and spending $18.20. Rolling out and up to the March 150, that generates $7.40. So we're going to need the calculator to help us out making these rolling decisions. But here's the thing that wasn't implicit in the email, and that is after the expiration of the February contracts, but prior to expiration of the March contracts, there's an earnings report due out, and that's on February 26th. So right off the bat, that would eliminate the possibility of rolling this option. But we're gonna do the math anyway. But that's one thing that Jim neglected to look at, and that's something that's very important to do so. That's why I'm pointing it out. Okay, so we know we're not gonna roll the option. We're gonna do the math anyway, just to see if there wasn't an earnings report coming up, whether it would make sense to do it. And if so, should we roll out or should we roll out and up? So to calculate rolling decisions, we go to the What Now tab of the Ellman Calculator. And you could see on the screenshot before you in the yellow cells, the option prices we alluded to before, the $9.35 original premium, and then the $18.20 cost to close. And then in the brown cells, we looked at the premiums for the rolling options. If we rolled out simply to the 130, same strike, that would generate $20.50, and we rolled out and up to the 150 strike, that would generate $7.40. So that's the information that we feed into the blue cells of the What Now tab of the Ellman Calculator. And then on the right side of the spreadsheet into the white cells will become populated with our calculations. So on the top part of the screenshot here, you could see that we highlighted the return through March 15th would be 1.77%. Now remember, we're still in early January. So that's a 2-month return of 1.77%. In my view, not worth the effort. So rolling out is kind of off the table. Both of them are off the table because of the earnings report, but let's assume there's no earnings report. We wouldn't consider rolling out because the return is just too small. Now, how about rolling out and up? Now, we know there's going to be an option debit because we're spending $18.20 and we're generating $7.40. However, the price of the stock will move up to the current market value, and we will also have opportunity for share appreciation if the price continues to go up. Now, on the bottom right side, we see that the net credit calculates to 4.28% for a 2-month return at that point in time, which that's pretty decent. I wouldn't sneeze at that. That's over 2% a month. So that's something that I would consider. And if the price actually moves up to the new strike of 150, we can actually generate 7.08% over that 2-month time frame, about 3.5% a month. So that would kind of make sense. If we were going to roll, I would favor the rolling out and up. Once again, keep in mind that we're not going to roll because of the earnings report. But that's kind of how we would view it. And that's why the What Now tab of the Ellman Calculator is so valuable, because it'll break this down for us and help us make our investment decisions. All right, what about closing the trade and taking profits, as Jim suggested in the email? Well, for that, we would go to the Unwind Now tab of the elite version of the Ellman Calculator. For those of you who are premium members, the Elite Calculator is part of your member benefits. It's free to you, and you can download it from the resources download section of the premium site. Those of you who are not premium members, you could purchase the Elite Calculator at the Blue Collar store. And that's where the Unwind Now tab, along with the 7 tabs from the Schedule D, are added to the basic calculator. So once we get to that tab, once again, we fill in the blue cells. You could see the information here. The original price, $133.31, to current price, $146.36. The original option, $9.35, and the cost to close, $18.20. So that's all fed into the Unwind Now tab of the elite version of the Ellman Calculator. And you could see here that the time value cost to close, if we closed both legs of the trade, is 1.42%, right? Now, we say to ourselves, can we generate more than 1.42% by contract expiration? Now, we're still dealing with the February contracts here, so that's about almost a 6-week time frame from January 9th to February 15th, let's say 5 weeks. So in 5 weeks, can we generate more than 1.42%? And I like to say at least 1% more than that. So can we generate 2.5% in the next 5 weeks with a different stock and a brand new covered call trade? And the answer is most likely yes, because we have 5 full weeks left, and that should be relatively easy to do. So the mid-contract unwind exit strategy, which is what this is, closing a position both legs of the trade early in the contract when share price moves up dramatically, thereby making the time value component of the premium approaching zero. That's when it makes sense to execute this type of trade. So since we can't use rolling, then this is an exit strategy that would make a lot of sense and allow us to generate a second income stream in the same month with the same cash with a different stock. Okay, let's review the trade and discuss what Jim can do here. We know that rolling an option, you could roll out, which in this case gives us very, very modest returns. Nothing that I would get too excited about. So eliminate that. Rolling out and up gives more robust returns. I would consider it. However, the earnings report eliminates rolling as a choice. Just ends it right there. So we're not going to roll the option. Now, the mid-contract unwind exit strategy costs us 1.42% to close both legs of that trade, plus small trading commissions. And it's very reasonable to assume that we could generate more than that by the, I have here 315, but basically we're going to stay within the confines of the same contract. So it's by February 15th in a brand new position. So that said, let's first of all thank Jim very, very much for asking this question. It's something that comes up frequently, and the more frequently it comes up, the happier we are, because it means we've maximized our trade, and now we're looking for ways to generate even more income, having then maxed our trade. So Jim, thank you very, very much for sharing this trade with us. And of course, I also want to thank everybody out there for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And most importantly, I hope you make money from it. As always, this is Alan Ellman, the Blue Collar Investor. Take care, everybody.